Hello there, Mirrorbanks. Welcome back to the Williams Speedrun, part 4 out of 7, 4 races included. From this part forwards, it's going to be in 1.8, which means that we'll have some changes to, well, the sign for one, but also to our races with backmarkers supposedly getting better to move away, with, of course, the smoothness now potentially being actually having an effect compared to previously where, as I said, wasn't really worth the value. So because of that, actually our project here with Pourchaire and Piastri might actually be pretty good, because now we'll see just how efficiently, well, those 35 points Pourchaire has on Piastri, and by the end 50 points will be. So that's going to be fun. We are going to be playing this season of the Williams Speedrun to the end, at least season 6, potentially a season 7. We'll have to see how how interested and, well, filled I get with the Aston Martin save currently working on. But for now, we're gonna finish get up to the halfway point of season 6 for Williams Speedrun, and we'll see how we do in these final 3 races before we get to that point. So we actually have some research coming up here in well, just a few days really, and we'll see if we can figure out how the sign has changed, because this is my first foray into 1.8. I decided to get the Williams video done for half the season before I saw the Aston Martin one, both so I could just check out smoothness between Tyre Pourchaire and Oscar Piastri, but also so I could get a little bit of a look at what the design changes actually are. So with that, let's go to our inbox here. We've just finished Baku, so we get we get told that went well. Now, railing research has completed. Hospitality area is in poor condition, let's refurbish. And we're going to have a quick look here on how the research looks. So we're going to use the rear wing here. The focus lights are supposedly fixed, if you will, so that if you do one thing... well, for research, it doesn't seem to really matter. This should again be 1.8. For research, doesn't seem to be too big of a problem. Does not. Let's see if the design is same, because if so, I'm gonna probably have to start a new video to see the changes. But let's see if we focus here. Bike reduction. Currently, it looks like the main difference is that you just get less, but still an upgrade, even with everything on the right. Everything is red, as you can see, so it's worse gain from design focus than what we had. And as you can see, the minuses are a bit bigger. I think, I'm a little bit unsure, I need to have a look at this. Again, it seems to be a bit bigger. So as a result, the gains are smaller, as you can see, by 0.4%. But turning everything to the right, well, it's been nerfed, let's just put it like that, but it's a very minor nerf. It's still viable. How does it affect time? Takes a little bit more time now, I think. Or is that just a basic setup for time? Because if the nerf is minor, it just takes a little bit more time, then I'm a bit confused here. Normal. Okay, so it does take a little bit more time, I think. I'm not sure. But as I said here, turning everything to the right is probably still the way to go, honestly. It seems to be that way. It has gotten a little nerf, maybe, but then again, it's so minor that I can't really see it. And as you can see, our design focus positive negatives here on the current piece we got hit harder as a result. So I'm actually uncertain if design has been applied to the save or not. It's a bit confusing, but we're going to do what I said in the earlier video. We're going to focus cooling, because I just feel it just feels wrong to not focus anything for me. So we'll gain a slight amount of boost for, you know, drag reduction, for instance, and you know, the other stats, but we're going to focus cooling, and we're going to take the hit, and we're going to see if next season might be a bit more challenging. The research benefit is just 5% though, so maybe they nerfed it a little bit. I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where I'm actually confused is the best way to describe it. So we'll have a bit more look in depth in yes, modern save. For now, however, we're going to move forward to the race, and we'll see how we do there. Special research complete. We're going to start another one again and tune everything down but break cooling. But I'm going to have to probably have a bit of a look afterwards, because I thought it would be easy to see the differences here, but clearly I've been mistaken. There we are. And again, we're just focusing cooling. We'll get a very slight boost, but I think it's fine. It just feels wrong for me to not have anything going, so even if I have something useless going, it feels better. We have the Canadian Grand Prix coming up though, so let's see here how tyre management might have become a bit more important. About to start the Canadian Grand Prix. We'll be trying a 2-stopper for both our drivers here, but attack seems to become, well, been thrown completely off the table, because if we take a quick look here for Piastri, if we edit a strategy to go attack, it's not possible anymore with a 2-stopper, at least not in Canada. So we're going to go aggressive on all 3 stints, and we might have to tune it down because of Piastri's low smoothness potentially, but we'll see once we get into the race itself. Pourchaire has the same strategy, and you know his prognosis is the exact same. So I'd like to know what level of prognosis he follows. It has followed Piastri pretty good. Piastri's usually been a bit, Pourchaire's usually been a bit over. So if these are set at 50 smoothness, which is what I'm thinking, things might get a little bit interesting here. But we'll be starting with, of course, push on the fuel, aggressive pace, and deploying ERS. Let's see how the race goes. The other teams can
now we should have good weather.
Keep up with us.
This is it. We're moments away now at the Canadian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
As you can see, Pourchaire actually started on in first. He actually beat out Piastri in qualifying by 2/10. And the other teams have actually caught up quite a bit, because in qualifying, well, we'll still have a huge gap here, 3 seconds. Because in qualifying, the other teams are now just a second behind us. In earlier races, there were 2. So I'm guessing that potentially here we have a situation where tyre wear could also be playing a hand in qualifying. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Currently though, they're both moving around the same in terms of tyre usage. Pourchaire is saving about maybe a percentage points versus Piastri, but 10%. So over the course of, well, 60% degradation, it should be pretty close. But yeah, we are doing way better in terms of race pace, because 10 laps in now, and there we go, they cross the line. We are 22 seconds ahead, and we are going to have to slow Piastri down here purely due to Pourchaire falling out of DRS range. But for us, it doesn't seem like really too much of change so far. But it's going to be interesting to see it, because again, I tuned down Piastri a little bit. There's a lot of smoothness between these two guys. So tyre performance might have changed, but in the current save, it doesn't seem to have had too much of an effect. And that's a bit worrisome. It could also be that the effect is better viewed on, you know, lower run tiers. And as you can see here, both of them are actually above the expected line, which is concerning. Pourchaire is, of course, a little bit further above than Piastri, but... And he's also getting left behind again while I was looking at this. But yeah, currently, I don't think the tyre degradation change is nice and all, but I'll have to see on the Aston save how it works, because getting it fixed is one thing. Getting it fixed to actually have something to say for the game is a completely different matter. So we'll have to see here. We're 20 laps in, we have 30 seconds just watch Piastri do overtake on the
out.
DRS.
Let's
Ocon
see
had a
what
crash.
happened there. Now, just watch the Mercedes here.
Luckily, I don't think he took anyone with him.
Clearly, something went.
That is the classic Canada invisible wall. Yeah, I think we're good here. We could probably get a little bit more aggressive, but even Piastri here has tire usage to spare. So we could try and force one of our drivers to drive closely behind, just to see if that has an effect. But we're not going to do that. We are, however, going to get Pourchaire in this lap. And the two-stopper, once you are in a dominant position, seems to be, well, the way to go. We're going to have to slow Piastri down a bit here for purposes of, you know, getting Pourchaire back into DRS. Russell had an accident, but he went through. Does he not have damage?
It's a crash.
Not to the front wing, at least.
Let's
See what
take
happened.
a look at the replay.
Did he try and restart and then, yeah. Ran wide,
Sounds
then
like
it drove
someone's
into the
locked
wall. That's a sad one. But yeah,
Did somebody spin out there?
as I said, yeah, we still don't see a huge change between Tyres here and Pourchaire. Seems to be suffering a lot more than he used to do, but again, we're going through back markers. I'm thinking that it'll be better to see on a fresh save. But so far, I don't see a big difference. But again, it's early. I should give it like half a season before I give judgment, really. But Tyre definitely has had some changes. If we have a look here on lap histories of, let's say, Piastri for the pit, you can see that they are progressively getting slower. And that's how it should be, really. Because, well, some of these are slow, some of these are fast, but in general, he loses a little bit of lap time every lap. For Pourchaire, it'd be about the same. Some of these laps, of course, they gain more than they lose because they overtake. But on the laps where they don't overtake, like this one, as you can see, he loses a little bit. Gains actually a little bit there, but generally you see the laps take longer as the tires degrade, which is good to see. Because previously, the fuel used actually made up for the tire wear. So tire wear basically became a non-issue. Now here's the thing that's funny. We can actually see engine temperature. And we are running our engine in the yellows. And what I've heard is that this could help like have an effect on engine wear, which makes sense. But unless we crash out, we've really not had any problems with engines. Even in our first season with cooling not being prioritized at all. We had that season where Piastri didn't crash out and we only used 3 engines. So cooling currently does not have too big enough of an effect on engine wear to really warrant us focusing on it, but I'm just doing it to feel like I'm doing something. Multiple cars have crashed, no safety car again. And
Sounds like a few cars have crashed. Here's the replay.
another Mercedes.
Now let's look at this. Here's George Russell.
Is he gonna T-bone? Okay.
That's a big smash. They'll have felt that.
So they both went off. I thought Russell was about to T-bone someone. Now. We could have a quick look here and just see if how overtaking back markers go, because we should be catching up to them fairly soon here. Which would be show. Oh, Pourchaire with the overtake. Let's see. I don't know if I like that. In all honesty, we're going to slow down next time because that basically was show parking on the side of the track. And if you get lapped, it's basically going to ruin your race, potentially. That's going to suck for lower end teams. It's a fix for, you know, once you get good, but it's still... Is it better? Potentially. Is it great? I don't know yet. I need to see it in a better angle, but it seemed like it just slowed down a bit too much. Got a little bit too much out of the way, really. Let's have a look. Be getting overtake fairly soon. Yeah, as you can see, he gets out of the way, but he was within the DRS of the car in front, and he just said, nah, I'm out. Fair enough that they're letting people by now, but it's still, it's too much. Like, it's slowing up too much. That's what I feel. It's good for, you know, again, once you're a front runner, but they are, again, just slowing up a bit too much. And then, as you can see here, potentially we could have other cars too taking advantage of this. And even with them slowing up that much, Pourchaire actually still managed to get stuck. Of course, gonna have to see that over a couple more races, maybe during qualifying, as we didn't have any problems with that when we did ours. I wanted to see if it worked, but
you're doing very good.
Didn't see any
good.
Any huge. Oh, I need to speed up Piastri again. Need to actually slow down Pourchaire. I didn't see any big problems with it, which is why I'm a bit confused there. But yeah, we'll probably we'll have a lot more opportunities to have a look at that during the Aston Martin campaign. Again, I just want to get this the final two videos of the first half of the season 6 done before I start on that. And yeah, we'll learn more once we get there. For now, though, we have lapped everyone here. And except the fact that we can't run attack anymore, we're still plenty quick. Don't get me wrong. But here again, we've ran, I don't know how many laps on these hards. Pourchaire, sorry, Piastri even pitted a lap before Pourchaire. And you can see here, there's 4-5% tire wear between the two of them. And that is with Piastri having run an extra round here. So let's see, this straight is here. 48%, let's see what he's at once we get around. 46, so use around 2% a lap. So let's give just Piastri 1 percentage point here for that. So hards running as long as they've done, the difference in smoothness, he has gained 4% tire life, which would be 2 laps around here, which is valuable, but too little, really. I think we might have to try it out on a softer compound, maybe. So I'm thinking that we might try and stretch this and see how we do on the softs towards the end. Can we make that work? We could, but we couldn't run aggressive. We'd have to run normal, which honestly is okay because the softs should be the biggest like difference. I'm thinking that we pit both of them on softs and we do it together. Like double stack. Piastri has been running away from Pourchaire, although Piastri is behind now. I'm thinking that we pit them both for softs in 1 lap. And we allow that to the side. So let's pit them both for softs. We have 88% left on these. It's the same for Pourchaire. 89. He had a little bit more to go on. But still, we'll have to see just how that plays out. Of course, Piastri is gonna suffer here because of the double stack. 4 points something behind. But it's already gaining, but we need to tune these down so they actually last to the end. So, price standard. See that go, we might need to tune them even further down. But I'm doing this mainly to see the difference. Let's also remember that Piastri started with a percentage point less on the tires. So, we're gonna have to see here how it is. Piastri is gaining though, like a lot. He gained 3 times last lap, almost. 2 times this lap. And he actually doesn't have enough lap time to catch up. Which is sad, don't get me wrong. But again, the standard versus normal here just seems to be a little bit too out of line. So if we do this and we tune this like this, it's actually in line with that. Which means we can run aggressive for the last couple of laps here, probably
I think there's been a lock-up.
From now on, actually. Multiple cars crash. We have a safety car. And we have been collected. Doohan is out. That's a bit of a sad one. Gonna ignore. We'll have to see if the race ends in the safety
Now
car.
let's watch this. The Alfa Romeo involved in this one.
Now the big question is, Doohan getting lapped here, or...
Goodness me, that
Okay.
is a serious collision.
I would assume not, since he got bumped, but he was really blocking the track, wasn't he? But again, it's a bit of a shame because again, it's just 2, 3,
Car in this lap.
2 or 3. I'm gonna give both of them everything. It's just 2 or 3 basically percent difference. So either smoothness needs to be tuned up so that high smoothness. We have another safety car. What else is out?
Was that a crash? Multiple cars,
what happened
I think.
here then?
Let's take a closer look. Now we see Valtteri Bottas.
Is he gonna take out his teammate? Okay, he did not take out his
There's the
teammate.
hit, and it's
And it was another Alpha.
Safety car.
Yeah, we'll have to see how one would like to do this, honestly. Because currently smoothness doesn't seem to still not be worth it, because again, tire degradation is independent of smoothness. It's virtually what it's getting at this stage, because as you can see, again, I should probably reserve my judgment until I play the Aston save, but as you can see so far, Piastri has 1, 2, 3 percentage points more tire degradation, so he's going to have to pit more often, but he more than makes up for that in race pace. He has 2 310s usually on a Pourchaire running the same setup. And the main difference that they have in the point allocation is smoothness versus pace. We can even go and have a look at that after this, but I'm still getting back to that. They have the same car. They have everything the same. The only difference between them is Pourchaire has points in smoothness that Piastri does not. And if you took those smoothness points and redistribute them into pace, he'd be very close to Piastri's current points. And again, 2 tenths a lap might not sound like much, but over the course of a race it matters. And if you want to stretch, well, this would actually probably be the better time to stretch a 1-stop versus a 2-stop Piastri, to be honest. We'll have to do more testing during this season, but it'll be interesting to see. At least the tires now do degrade properly. You lose time when they're lower, so that is good. In terms of this race though, Ferrari did well, and Alpine did great actually. Red Bull out of the points sadly. And same for Mercedes. Russell had a bad one, let's be honest, crashed. Ocon crashed as well. But Verstappen and Leclerc, 3-4, very good for them. In terms of drivers, we have, well, Piastri still on top. No real changes other than Guan Yu Zhou moving up due to his point scoring position. And in Constructors, Ferrari moves past Red Bull, Alpine moves past Mercedes. In terms of development, I feel like they've added a plus here. Does that mean that we can technically get negative development now? Because that would be fun. But yeah, as you can see, decent development. Both of our drivers were driving together for the most part. But again, we had to slow down Piastri several times for Pourchaire to catch up. Money-wise, also a very good race. About 900,000 extra. Compared to what we, again, should have gotten as a base. And what I'm thinking here is we just get Piastri those 2 points of smoothness. We're going to get accuracy and control up, and then we're going to start working on, I don't know, adaptability maybe. Trying to see if 100 adaptability can, you know, negate some of the negatives of, you know, the weather potentially. But I don't know really. Let's get some points into smoothness for Pourchaire as we planned. For Behrman, we also have a point. Let's get into cornering. And other than that, we have some congratulations in order for Canada. Aerodynamic testing period begins. I'm going to have to see how that affects cooling. It might be the one thing that we take a rain check on. We're only allowed to use aerodynamic periods. But yeah, it's just me being a bit uncertain. Once again, driver that we cannot propose a contract to, but is at least in F3. So hopefully in future we can make something happen there. What I feel like they need to add is just a very simple extra here on the right, as you can see. I can't actually hover over it. But like, can be signed. Yes, no. It's eligible for signing, basically, because kind of annoying having to go through all of these and just see, nope, not allowed. Do we have any 21-year-olds that we are allowed to sign, though? Doesn't really look like it. We need to get up to 22 before we find... Well, if I check all of these, I'll probably find one. But again, if you're gonna lose all those high development years, I'm gonna be sad. The beer has points to put in. We're gonna go for, yes, one in each of these, medium and low speed. And technical chief, rear wing. We're gonna max that one. Race engineers both have a point each. Let's max pit crew for Irvin. And then I guess we're gonna go feedback afterwards. Same here. Diego is now 83. Very good. And ATR period. Again, I think we might not cheat for this, we might not. I'm uncertain still. But we still have the best car. No changes there. And I guess we can prepare, not perform, for the British Grand Prix. So, as I said, everything here looks good. We're ready to go. And we'll still be testing a lot on the changes in 1.8. We're ready for the British Grand Prix. We'll be splitting strategies here to, again, test out a little bit towards smoothness, tire degradation, everything in 1.8. We are starting 1-2. We're at about 2 seconds to the third car in qualifying, which is pretty good. We're starting aggressive for... not you. And we're going to run balanced on fuel, because I noticed some interesting things in that last race that I failed to mention, but I saw in replay, if you will. Now, I'm thinking we might actually suffer a fuel issue here, because I remember correctly, the British Grand Prix is the one place we've had issues before, and Reddit has been quite vocal about the fuel gauge, sometimes just not... Basically, you can run everything on the minimum, but you will not regain fuel. So, I'm wondering if this is one of those places where you'll suffer. So,
is high, and the drivers are ready for this. The British Grand Prix. And it's lights out.
Sorry about that.
And
We'll do the first couple laps here, running basic, and see if we gain or lose. Currently, we are losing and gaining, which is awkward. Yeah, we might have to run conservative for the entire race by the look of this. Because 0.1 kilograms might not sound like a lot, but it's no longer by per lap basis, it's by total fuel. So currently we have 98.9 kilograms and lacking 200 grams and 100 grams. It's a lot in this context, but if we keep on losing 0.1, 0.2 every lap to the end, that's gonna suck a lot. Even 50 grams over 52 laps when you have nothing to spare, still gonna make out a few kilograms. So let's turn down the cost to conserve. And as you can see, even that isn't really helping. We're still negative on the fuel delta. And this fuel delta, the way that it works now is that it takes this and it calculates this versus how many laps are in and how much we're lacking to get it to the end. This is our current lack of fuel. And we'll have to see if maybe the tire test here will have to take a second place towards getting to the end of the race. Because currently Piastri isn't really regaining anything. He's still teetering. He's still using too much. We could try and run conserve on the second set, because as you can see, even with conserve, Pourchaire hasn't gained a lot. Yeah, fuel might actually be a bit more of a challenge here than the smoothness. Honestly, your fuel might dictate what strategy you run on certain tracks, is what I'm getting at here. And it seems to be doing the case here, so... Pourchaire is good. That's because he's running a standard one on conserve. The aggressive conserve is not working here.
Seems to have been a lockup.
Doing with a lockup, that's a bit sad for him. If we want to change Piastri's strategy here to something like this. We run conserve on these hards. Can we bring them to the end of the race? We can. So we're probably going to do that. We'll run these mediums a little bit more to the ground. But we're going to have to run conserve just to make sure that he actually has enough fuel. Because if he actually finished with this Pourchaire, he would get disqualified in a quote-unquote real race. So Piastri is still not regaining. He's still losing fuel, technically. So we're going to do this. And then we're going to pit him for hards. And see if that helps. Because if not, then I really should have put extra fuel in the car. Because we could have put another 2.5 kilograms of fuel if we really wanted to. So that's a bit concerning. Now, how is the tire comparison of these two? Because we have fresh hards versus well-used mediums. What are the lap times even running conserve? Yes, it's still having about a 2/10 up on Pourchaire. That's actually good. Just that tires do have now something to say. And it's quite the statement, really. So in this game, it doesn't matter because we have such a, you know, dominating car. But I can see it being a thing in other games. Now, here's the thing. Piastri is currently looking good on fuel, just barely. So we're going to tune him up one level.
I think we've had a car run wide.
But the fact that the pace settings seem to have this much to say is worrisome.
So
and he's
stop
actually
it
on
up.
the way down again, potentially. So, no, he looks good.
Oh, we've
Yeah,
had a spin.
I guess it's reckless now to do the charge with fuel. We'll have to just use one lap to see what we feel like. But yeah, British Grand Prix is one of those that is very risky in terms of fuel. I can't remember the other one, but this has been a concern for sure. I guess we probably were safe last race because of the fact that I had them DRS each other. Honestly, they both saved fuel on that. So, as you can see currently, we're just running pretty chill, but we barely able to save fuel. So, they might have fixed the fuel delta, but they might have also caused some problems with fuel usage. We'll have to see other races, but I don't know. I think I preferred the old one. It made more sense to me. This forces you to be a bit more proactive, if you will, and make more decisions for yourself. Which isn't a bad thing, but can also be a bit more confusing.
Sounds
Now,
like someone's locked up.
Pourchaire is actually losing fuel because was at 0. Yep, tune him down. We might have to tune him all the way down, and I think we're going to do that. We're going to do that for both of them because they're so close to not finishing. Like, they have 100 grams, 200 grams to go on before they will not cross the finish line. We'll have to see for the rest of the season if any other races act like this, but yeah, this is a concern. This is a concern for sure.
Last lap.
Pourchaire has caught up a bit to Piastri. It's good.
Second flag.
There we are. We made it to the finish line. All the other cars made it to the finish line too, so that's good. And it looks like Mercedes and also Haas has had a good race. Mercedes 3-4, Ferrari 5th, and then we have Stroll doing a template sleep up to 6th and the points. That's good for them. But yeah, that was a bit weird looking at the fuel and also very concerning in all honesty. So we'll have to see if that's the case for other races. I don't remember it being this bad in Britain in the earlier patch, but we'll have to try and pay a little bit of attention here. Russell moves up to 6th. Stroll moves up 4 places to 13th with a single point. And this also puts Haas on the map, as you can see. So Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, the 2 teams that haven't scored points yet. And Mercedes moves up past Alpine. Haas moves up past AlphaTauri, but they both have a single point, so I don't know if that matters too much. In terms of development, not the greatest due to, again, we're trying to run split strategies here. I was planning to run a 2-stopper for Piastri on aggressive and a standard 1-stopper for Pourchaire, but due to the fuel being so volatile, we ended up with Piastri running a 1-stopper as well. I'm just running conserve on the hards. So honestly, a bit of a waste of a race in terms of development. I could have done better, but it's just how things are. In terms of money, we made about 4.9 million almost extra. So basically I doubled the race money that we usually do, which is pretty nice. And we have a new regulation boat. But also we have a point for Pourchaire, get it in smoothness. And again, we'll be testing things down the line. New spawning regulations, final race should get double points. Well, we'll watch for that with this current setup with, you know, just the top 6 scoring points. And we're now off to what will be the final race of this first half, if you will. Q3, Q2 shouldn't be a problem. And we'll be doing a lot more judgment. Well, probably that too. A lot more testing in the second half of the season, of course. And I'm also thinking that we'll do... We'll be focusing a bit more on Aston Martin. We'll probably get a season out on that before we do the second half of the Williams. But that's my plan. We'll see how it goes. And what else? There was one more thing that I wanted to take up, but I've kind of forgotten about. So we'll get to that after the race. We are ready for the Austrian Grand Prix. We're going to do a passive strategy here. That's the best way to describe it. We're going to run standard. We're going to run a 1-stopper, medium to hard for both our drivers. We're not going to do anything but ERS at the start. Qualified first and second. 1.5 seconds is third place, I think. But as I said, we're not going to do anything special because of fuel delta. Because I want to see how, if the fuel usage actually potentially has been changed, or if I just had a bad day at the British Grand Prix.
The drivers there lined up on the crowd are ready, the cars are ready. It's the Austrian Grand Prix.
Fourth. That's an
lights out,
interesting one. Tsunoda. And Verstappen up here. But yeah, the goal here will be to simply see how the fuel delta changes, even with, you know, running everything standard. Because if it is actually changed for the worse, we might have a problem. Or, you know, it could just be an effect of the save itself. But currently it seems that running attack just isn't really viable anymore. The reason why we're able to save fuel is because we are switching positions. So, it's a bit of a problem. Don't get me wrong. We'll have to see just how much of a problem it is, because right now we are doing okay with fuel.
I think there's been a lockup.
We have a little bit to go on. But then again, if you consider what we had at the end of the Canadian Grand Prix, I believe we had like 4.5 kilograms. That's basically just 2 laps of fuel extra. But it does seem like we'll have a little bit more here, all things considered. So we'll have to see how this goes. Because currently, again, the difference in tire wear from smoothness doesn't seem to be that much, all things considered. Again, 1% per 10%, which helps in the lower ends, but
fastest lap.
You more than make up for it in terms of speed, just from having pace stats instead, which is again why I feel like it's a waste of stat.
I think someone's run wide.
Yeah, currently fuel is looking good, but if we... I'm tempted to try and run attack here. Because I believe a reason why we've saved fuel is because we're running the DRS train on both our drivers. Piastri's been a little bit left behind here. He's caught up. So, I don't know what we want to do. I think we'll try and run both our drivers aggressive down to about the 40% mark. Just to see if that has any effect on the fuel here. I assume it will not.
Is that a lockup?
But, still concerning. As I said, we will pay down 40% for both our drivers.
Oh, did someone run wide there?
Be pitting Piastri this lap, and as you can see, we are down to the 40% mark, and the difference between them is 4 percentage points. Which isn't a lot, really. It's one extra lap. And you could say you can gain a lot from that, but not really. Which is not the... Again, it's not a good reason to say for this regarding stat, but it's my reason for this regarding it. And honestly, I think this could have been one where we could have run attack. But we're still looking not great in terms of fuel use. We basically have an extra lap here, I think. Maybe an extra lap and, well, maybe 2 laps, honestly. But still, it's not a massive amount of extra fuel. Let's just say it like that. But it's actually pretty high up here. But they also needed to pit. Tsunoda is down in 7th, so falling a little bit off. But show still up here. So we'll have to see how this race looks at the end. Especially since there seems to be a lot of movement up and down. It's good to see. And fuel-wise, again, we are looking decent. But again, I prefer the amount expected at the end. Piastri ran wide. Gonna lose some time to Pourchaire. Can he make that up? It's a big question. 4 seconds, 20 laps to go. If he does 2 tenths, it's possible. If he gets stuck, you know, going through back markers, maybe not. He lost 7 tenths that last lap, gained 7 tenths the following one, and gained 5 tenths the following one. Lost 6 tenths. Lost a little, well, gained a second. Gained 300ths. Lost half a second, so yeah. It's a bit weird. I guess the back markers really are just that punishing. But he's still caught up quite a good bit here. 2.5 seconds behind, 10 laps to go.
Sounds like someone's locked up.
But I think Pourchaire probably has this in the bag. But the back markers could, and still are, potentially a problem. Yeah, seems like Pourchaire's going to have this one in the bag. Piastri can't get into DRS range. And again, it's 5% here too, with Piastri having done an extra lap, so I might be a bit too focused on smoothness in all honesty, but just how it is. Piastri actually did manage to get Pourchaire though, which is interesting. And I believe Haas scored another point here for Tsunoda. Very good. 1-2 for us, 3-4 for Ferrari, Mercedes 5th, and Haas 6th. Red Bulls did not have a good race, as you can see. So, it's going to be interesting to see how development also works with this, you know, half-done season. If some teams shoot up ahead of others or not. Tsunoda moves up to 13th, and knocks down Stroll a couple of pegs. In terms of team, there's no changes, which is, well, what you'd expect, really. Let's see how it went in terms of development. We had a decent race though in terms of development, as you can see, because we had both our drivers overtake and, well, defend a lot, as you can see. And, well, generally we just had a good race, in all honesty. Money-wise, make about 800,000 extra, which is good. But we have almost, well, we have 200 million now, so we have more than enough money to spare. There we are. This will be the, well, the end of part 4 out of 7 for the Williams speedrun with races included. We've had 3 races now under 1.8, so the fuel delta seems to have changed a little bit. It's kind of weird how we were suffering at Silverstone, had no problems in Canada, and then once again didn't have really any problems at what's the place called? Austria. So we'll have to do a little bit more testing there and see what we actually figure out, but I think it went well. Tyre degradation is the thing now, but once again, it doesn't seem like smoothness has really changed. Because before the patch, basically had the same change or difference in tyre wear from smoothness as we had before. So we're still going to test the 50 versus 100, but we'll have to see what we actually end up with here. So thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. And thank you to everyone who's liked and subscribed. If you haven't yet, please do. Helps me out a ton. And it'll probably be a day or, well, a couple of days until we have some more Williams content. We're going to be focusing on Aston Martin now, at least for the first season. And we'll see how that goes. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.